Now that we have internet, I can post things again while we're in class. So I'll post these announcements.
I'm gambling. I was almost one. I'm a Pink Floyd fan. Pink Floyd song Money. But yeah, they got the name from like two jazz musicians that they put together. I'm kind of stuck. My music style is stuck in the 70s and the 80s, so I have no idea who. That's why I don't know who Room 5 is. I don't know, but I am thinking about getting.
Don't do it! It's not worth it!
But if it was Colorado, would it be worth it?
Yes!
Yes! It's just that, I think, as I get older, anyway, it's just. Those are all my Super Bowl things. All right, so money. All right, we're gonna. Is money the root of all evil? That's what Pink Floyd says, man. Some say that money is the root of all evil. All right, so I'm gonna go from Pink Floyd to the Bible. My mind works, right? We could also use the I can't get off of my Pink Floyd stuff. All right, so in John 15, Jesus says he calls us his friends, and when I think of friends, I think of two people. So they gaze at one another in the eyes. But friend is somebody that you stand next to. And when Jesus calls us his friends, and when I think about this topic of finance this week, my heart is that we sit next to what he looks at and try to understand it according to how he understands it. So like, what does he think about finances? What does he think about economics? What does he think about business? What does he think about being an entrepreneur? What does he think about... So what we want to do, our goal this week is to sit next to God. It's just a framework to think of it. Sit next to God and say, what do you think? When you're friends with somebody, you want to understand what's on their mind. What are they thinking about? What do they care about? What's their understanding of this subject? So we're going to sit next to God and try to get his understanding. Interact with business, right? And we all bought stuff. We all have objects that have come from business. And let me ask you guys, how many of you guys are interested in getting involved in business in the future? Can you raise your hand?
Amen!
Go ahead and put your other hands up now.
Oh, yes.
Everybody! All right, guys, so Dave and Trina are with us for 4 days, Monday to Thursday, as much as possible. Not only in class, but we also try to provide times for meals and outside times where you can meet with your professors. So, this is your chance. If you're hungry to learn about finance, take advantage of it. And we'll try to arrange some more meal times. I know you've got the lunches with the business track leaders. But after that, we can try to arrange some meal times for you guys to do that. All right, is that so good, you guys? Is that something you guys are hungry for? Yeah. Want to learn God's perspective on business? Like business society, and it can be a horrible, life-sucking aspect of society. My grandfather he had this saying of a good deal is a deal that's good for you and good for me. It's just such a simple saying. A good deal is a deal that's good for you and good for me. But it's such a best deal for themselves, and they don't care about the customer. Or the customers only trying to get a good deal for themselves and don't care about the business. Introduce Dave and Trina Stone. If you guys, this is Trina. I don't know if you both want to come on up or Dave want to come on up, but we want to, at least Trina, please stand up. So, is it the CEO chair? CEO. Okay.
She's in charge.
She's number one.
I get to fire him if I want to.
Oh!
He can't fire me.
Oh no. I want to ask you a question, all right? So I want you guys to get a little bit of an idea of who we have with us. You guys have been friends of YWAM for how long?
30 years.
48
years.
78. Okay, how did it start?
It's about doing business in the hard-to-reach places. Think about going and doing missions in the hard-to-reach places as business people. We went into business.
No, first we got married.
First we got married.
Gosh, there's a lot of things that I want to commend to you guys. And again, I want to look at this website, but I haven't learned the most about these guys. So, and it's Afghanistan. So, do you have any pictures? Can you show us those pictures? No? Okay, no. All right, so here's what blows my mind is you guys have business office or something in Afghanistan?
All Muslim background except for our manager who's a Christian. Wow.
Okay, guys. It's like, what were you thinking in Afghanistan?
Well, again, we heard about God's heart for the nations in 1978, and as a response to that, the next day, Trina and I and a bunch of called to business, and so we spent the day at intercession, and there was a prophetic word, August of 1978 for me in the nations. Among others, but it was in August of 1978 that the Lord gave a word to us for Afghanistan.
And specifically as a business owner.
Wow. So wonderful. I've been to Afghanistan, and I just think it's wonderful.
It is.
Everybody should. Oh, yeah. No. You want to stand up? You want to pray first and then? You want to go sit back down? Okay. All right. We want to sit next to you as your friends this week. We want to sit next to you and probe your business. When you think about economics, what do you desire? What do you dream? What are your hopes for business and economics? And you called us your friends, and we received that invitation to be your friend, to sit next to you. So we say, share with the Spirit according to what's on your heart. We are your friends. We are on your heart. So we pray you bless Dave and Trina this week. We pray you use them and use us. We want to interact as much as we can with them. We want to receive all that you have to give, all this, learn as much as we can, so that you would pass that on to us and that we would apply it to see the kingdom of God grow. All right, thank you guys. Dave, can you take us through your website a little bit?
Yeah, if you want to, there's a website called firstrate.com. I think you see it on the screen. Headquarters. We have about 100 employees in the US of A, about 75 or so in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. Which professional football team? Dallas Cowboys. Right. And a Major League Baseball club by the name of the Texas Rangers, and home of First Rate. We are these are firms that manage other people's money. So if you have friends that have $10 million to drop off and have somebody else invest it and keep track of it and help them pursue some of their dreams that they might have for that money. Firms like Fidelity, Bank America, Wells Fargo, large wealth management, not the bank side. Don't think checking, savings, and loans. We don't deal with that side. We deal with the side that is our cash in the pocket people. We call that we serve, the kind of solutions that we provide, and we're going to tell you a little bit about the story of First Rate while we're here.
So is the guys you have employed in Afghanistan, are they part of a different company?
We have, as I mentioned, the world headquarters are in Arlington, Texas. We have a business in Hong Kong, China. And yes, those are all separate businesses. And the part of the journey to do international business, you've got in that country, you have employment law, you have all kinds of things that you need to deal with. And so
the guys in Afghanistan are part of First Rate.
The name of the company is First Rate Afghanistan, and they are a part of First Rate. They don't do work for anybody else. We can't get them to visit us in the States, but we get them to India. And so all of the staff participates together as one family.
Have you been to Afghanistan?
I've never been to Afghanistan this year. I haven't been in 2019 up in April that we'll be going back this year.
I got a question.
Question, can you guys see the screen?
Yes. Oh, wait, it's not on this page.
It's another page.
Where's it? You had a page.
Now we also carry our values as love, give, serve, and enjoy. Typical business. So those 4 values are what we call first-rate living. And this website gives you a little snippet of customers and into our communities. And this will be something we'll cover this week as well.
Okay, no, I want to go back.
Yeah. How about the team?
All right, so I'll explain my question. On their About Us webpage, there says by the numbers, 102 team members, and then the next sign says 2 trillion in AUM. What is AUM?
AUM, that's $2 trillion. Our software keeps track of that much money. That's using our software has a total of $2 million that they're managing for their customers. $2 trillion. The dollar sign over the 2. Trillion. 2 trillion.
That's a big difference in a billion.
2 trillion. I can get to that same page.
No.
As soon as this internet. I'm connected to my phone. And it's
How
not.
do you guys get them hooked up to the?
On 2019.
Okay, here we go. By the numbers, about a little more than a dozen in Afghanistan. We have about, how many in India? About 30 in India, and we have 1 in Hong Kong. And $2 trillion in assets under management by our customers. So a Bank of America, a Fidelity, a Wells Fargo, from the Southeast, SunTrust, money. That's a lot of it. $1 trillion. Those are our customers. Those financial institutions, yeah. Not the individuals, but those financial institutions. That is correct. Yeah. $2 trillion.
Okay, so.
She is the chief financial officer. Trina and I, you're going to hear this story. This is the story of the 2 of us. And you can go ahead and
Well, that would help. I'm a little bit blown away. So with that, bless you, please. It's in the Lord and in missions and in business, and has a lot to share with us this week. So let's open up our hearts and minds to receive from the Lord.
And so this is going to be our theme song for the week. You're going to hear this every time I start, and maybe even every time I end. But it is. Fred Hammond, Hammond, Fred Hammond. If you want some music that'll get you up out of your chair, that Jesus Spirit. We're gonna get everybody up dancing to that one. This pretty. All right, so we'll have that one go again. Who is ADHD in this classroom? I need 2 volunteers. I need this dude right here, somebody from over here, and somebody from this side. I need 3 people actually. Anybody? Yes, sir. And I need a female that would self-identify as ADHD. Yes, ma'am. Come right up here. You are looking at 3 people that are going to be the president of a business. They are going to run stuff. Because they do not have the ability to work for anybody. And these three people. Anyways, what I want you to do is divide this up into thirds. Everybody gets a business card. So if you'll hit that side of the room over there, man. Luke, Abby, and Donnie. Take us off the screen. I can do that. I don't know if you guys have business cards or not, but this is what a typical business card looks like. You put your title at your company, your address, your phone number, and your email. And a lot of times, people leave the back empty. Thank you, Luke.
Luke. Come with me. It is.
And all that pertinent information in the front. And on the back, a lot of people leave their business card blank because that way, that's all you need to know. If you want to take some other notes, find someplace else to write it down. I don't make room for your notes. Those are my notes. But you might think about what you would put on your card. Founders of First Rate. We're going to tell you that story and some of the fun that the Lord took us through to get to where we are today. 39, 39, 39 is, can everybody see that? Yeah. I'm going to show you a couple slides of things in our workshop of the things that you think about or the problems with business or what the heck is going on, why things that I want to talk about. For example, the spheres solar system. I love the picture of having spheres, little balls, and then the value of work. Jesus was Jewish, not Christian. I don't know if you know that or not. Just get over it. He doesn't have long, flowing, European-looking hair. That's not the that. No pyramids in your callings. Nobody sits on top of anybody else in terms of their calling. If you don't know what you're going to the nations for, let me give you one clue. It's the word equality. Be confronted with a world system which is not about equality. You're going to hear us talk, but it's kind of like a radio station. You got to get yourself dialed in to the voice of the Lord. Capital W, capital O, capital T, and little o, W, little o, little t, capital L. Core values, what we call first-rate living. Co-workers, customers, community. Business is in community for your ends of the earth. And that's not all, kids. We got another page. We got 2 pages. That's not it. Business. Make God known through business. Business with a mission. Our family within the YWAM family. Business's mission, TTS. An AA degree in business. Genesis 2:15. Nehemiah 1:4. Colossians 3:20. The number one need in the world. If you're going to another nation to meet a need, not your culture. Obedience is better than conversions. We have made, ministry is not a word that's reserved for the religious sphere. Get rid of your conversation. No, I said ministry. I'm going to say stop right there. We're talking about it. Did I just get off on that already? Sorry. Wow. No sacred and secular divide. Kingdom of God living. Lots of fun things that we're going to have time with this week. I hope that you will look forward to a few of those things. But Trina and I also want to spend time with you guys. And are some of the dreams that you have. God has, well, a number of ways that you might define that, but God is moving you towards a life is something that you need to discern where God is taking you, or get in a car that's autonomous driven, or get in a drone. But you know that God is, now you heard earlier in 1978, God dropped 2 things into my spirit and Trina's, that we were called to business and we were called to missions. And those are missions How specific is that? So two very broad looks like. We weren't even engaged at the time that we got that word. We were dating, going to school together, but we didn't even so here's a little bit of that story. Can everybody see that? I don't know if you can see Trina's eyes, but this is after the wedding. You know when you get, yes, finally. And she has that look. Is the cement set yet? Because maybe I can get a great journey. Trina and I met when she was in the 8th grade and I was in the 9th grade. A long time ago. To just put it in perspective, Noah had just... And we always more. Because I got a head start. But in our journey, interesting things that took place, including we got engaged 1981. Is that right, Trina? We had what we had our divorce before we got married. Ladies, if you are engaged, follow your feet. She called me, I called her, we were talking actually over the phone, and she said, you know that marriage we're supposed to have in October? What? She goes, I can't go through with it. I said, well, what did I do wrong? What can I do? How do I fix this? You can come over here. You can pick up the 2 boxes of stuff that you've given to me the previous 9 years. I have every shred of evidence that you have done enough wrong. That was what I got. And there's a lot more in that story. Hopefully you'll go to Francis Chan's weekend on marriage. It was an important step for her to take. It was an important step for us to take. And it was a disaster for me. It was fix this. There was no turning back. So I drove over to where she lived. I picked up the 2 boxes. I flopped around the floor crying. Ah! Ah! No! She said, "Could you?" In May of 1981, we called it off, and then we spent 6 months without talking to each other. And she was candy and doing all kinds of things to be lovey-lovey on her. And I mean, this is like 250 miles away, so I'm shipping stuff. This is before Amazon. It was, the post office. You know who those people are? I don't know if you know. And I came home from work one day, and he just kind of grabbed me by the shoulder and said, "You're being an idiot. Stop being an idiot. Let it go." And in family there where I was living, a bunch of guys around me. And so for a number of months, I was just hanging out with the guys, trying to figure out, okay, where did I screw up? What principle that I was violating was everything the Lord spoke to me, I was projecting onto her. I don't know if you know people like that, but when they get something good from Jesus, like a book, you should get this. Well, that's what I was doing. Every day. You should read this. You should hear this. You should know this. You should. Basically, I'm shooting on the hashtag. Don't shoot on me. I was just loading it on. So the principle is, if God gives you something, that's for you. If you want to walk with other people as you cherish what the Lord has given to you, the way you're looking what the Lord gave you. But when He gives you a word, that word is for you. And so, a relationship. So I'm hanging out with these guys, I'm working through that stuff, and I'm learning to kind of keep my stuff to me. And oh, by the way, there was another young lady at church, hanging out with her. I mean, it was over, right? It's over. Come on, give me a break. So I go out with this girl a couple times, and she said, "I really think this might have a future, but it feels like you're not over the thing with Trina. You're not over it. You need to deal with it. You haven't put it away yet." She's going to sound like, I'm not sure what she's going to say. But if I ever want to move on to another healthy relationship, she's telling me I got to deal with it. So I called Trina up. I said, oh, well, I'm probably still an idiot, but could I come talk to you? I need to kind of get a closure on this relationship. I went over, drove over to where she was living, and spent the weekend together. And I don't know if you know what the 3 things are necessary to start a fire. We spent that weekend trying to put our relationship in November of 19, and then in October of 1982, this is what happened. We got married. And, 2 of them are married. 1 is not. Our daughter, who's 30, is not married. She a tidbit for you guys and gals. If you're single and you're unhappy, you're better off than if you were married and unhappy. Is not a step towards happiness. It's a commitment towards marriage will not make you happy, so get over it. Do not think because I'm single, not ready, that's why you're not married. But don't get married because your friends are, because a lot of those friends, in spite of what they say on Instagram, and what we have discovered is there's no better relationship to give that kind of effort to you, but don't do it because you think it's going to make you happy. It won't. It won't. But don't believe the devil when he says there's something wrong with you or somebody that God is preparing for you, and you are in a process of being prepared for them. Until Trina, with her wisdom, said, I ain't marrying that guy. So marriage is a wonderful thing, and as something you see a lot of people do in business, but I also commend that to you. We have had 27 care of the financial side of the business, which is why she's the CFO. And then I'm a coder, I'm a programmer. So I did the sales and the technical stuff. She kept track of all the money. You're Eskimo. All right, well, this water is really warm, and I don't know one way to get it warm or cooler is with ice. Preston, Alan, and his wife, Nicole, are facial recognition going on. So he's always disguised.
Good work.
Can't laser pointer. She's right there. Did I get that right? That's Nicole. They have 3 boys that are in the picture. 2 of them are in their arms. Their oldest son is right there in the front, right in Long Beach, California. And I told you he's in the internet business. She's in the Worth, Texas. They have 3 boys. That's one of their boys. They now have, she, believe it or not, was pregnant at the time. And they now have a 3rd son. So this is my daughter, Catherine. Catherine did her DTS here as well in January of 2012. This is our 7th anniversary for doing our D school here on the Kona campus. Well, I'm going to show you some of the words of the Lord that God has given to us over the years, and one of them was. So a little bit about the background. Trina grew up in a family where she was born in Colombia. She lived basically in one house her whole life, and she lived in basically one place. My dad was Air Force. We moved all around, and then in high school, late junior high, early high school, we went together. I have 4 older brothers. I'm the youngest of 5. Who's the youngest in the room here? These are all the comedians in the room. These are all the comedians. Did I just say that right? If you think of a comedian, 9 out of 10 of them are youngest. It's just the way we do life. So, we're just kidding. I'm the youngest of 5 brothers. My parents are Christians, very non-denominational. We're different denominations, so when you go to church on a Sunday morning, you're getting Lutheran, Presbyterian, Methodist. Trina, she was raised in a Christian home as well. She has an older brother who died when parents are wonderful Christians, and she was raised in the Methodist church. We were, anybody far away from home is nuts. It's like, why would you ever leave? Hey, you're just fine for us. Oh my God. So, we've been there for 36 years. She's an adventurer. So since we did our D school, the word of the Lord for us is to go in the countries that we're all going to. that in Afghanistan, based on what principle? Equality. There's 3 weeks out of the year on the road. So if you asked us where we live, I generally say something smart like 13A, I don't know what, 150 to 200,000 miles a year, something like that. And it's like in the area of business, which is why we're here this week. And it's lost, but it's lost in this overwhelming economy. And you need to discern how you're supposed to see that called us too. So as you the next month, it's because we got all this travel going on that we love to do. She's being obedient. I get energized by it. God gives her grace. And so we're to take this message of who he is and what he's like and his love for the nations through business. In high school together, we actually got born again the same weekend, if you can believe that. Pat Boone. All you guys that were listening to Pink Floyd, and Tree and I gave our hearts to the Lord in the fall of 1971. My time in sports. And then there was the charismatic renewal was going on in the 70s at that time. Was the big thing that really gave us a rocket ship off the platform going